Oil prices just jumped 35% in the first 12 days of March alone, and most people think that only affects them at the gas pump. But here's what nobody is connecting right now. That number right there could determine how much your Social Security check goes up next year. Two different organizations just released their first estimates for the 2027 COLA adjustment. COLA, that's the cost of living increase the government adds to your Social Security each year to keep up with inflation. One group says 1.7%. The other says 2.8%. That's not a small gap. On a $1,800 check, that's the difference between getting $30 more a month or $50 more over a full year. That gap adds up to $240 in your pocket, or not. And the reason nobody can agree right now? Iran. Here's the frustrating part. Every year, millions of retirees wait for this announcement. You've planned your budget around it. You've told your family what to expect. And every year, you get a number in October with almost no warning about why it's higher or lower than expected. This year feels different. And it is different because for the first time in a while, there's a wild card that most financial experts are openly saying they cannot predict. That wild card is the price of oil. When oil goes up, everything costs more. Groceries, heating your home, getting to your doctor's appointment. The government measures all of that through something called the CPIW, the Consumer Price Index, for urban wage earners and clerical workers. That's the formula they use to calculate your COLA every year. And right now, that formula is being hit from every direction. Inflation is still running at 2.2% year over year. But oil just spiked, and nobody knows if it stays there or goes higher. So when you hear your 2027 COLA estimate is ready, understand that estimate could change dramatically in the next few months. Now, here's what I want to walk you through in this video. First, who are these two organizations giving us COLA estimates, and why are their numbers so far apart? Second, what does the Iran conflict actually have to do with your Social Security check? I'll show you the real connection step by step. And third, the date you absolutely need to mark on your calendar right now, because what gets announced on that date could change everything about this estimate. And I'll also tell you about a bigger threat to your benefits that's hiding behind all these headlines. Something that AARP just put out a warning about. Something that could affect every single person watching this video. Stay with me, because you need to hear all of it. Let's start with the two organizations making these COLA predictions. The first is the Senior Citizens League, also known as TSCL. They're a nonpartisan advocacy group. They've been tracking Social Security and retirement benefits for decades. Their latest estimate for 2027? 2.8%. That's the same as the COLA we got for 2026. No change from this year. They're basing that on the most recent inflation data, the CPI numbers from February 2026. Now, the second estimate comes from Mary Johnson, an independent Social Security and Medicare policy analyst. She's one of the most respected voices in this space. Her estimate? 1.7%. She revised it upward. It was 1.2% just last month, but it's still significantly lower than TSCL's number. So, who's right? Did you know that nobody actually knows yet? And that's not me being vague. That's the honest answer. Here's why. The official COLA is calculated using inflation data from July, August, and September of each year. We're in March. We have 4 to 6 more months of data coming in before the Social Security Administration makes its official announcement, which happens every October. What comes in between now and then? Unpredictable events, like oil prices, like what's happening in Iran. Let me explain this as simply as I can. When there's conflict in a major oil-producing region, like what we're seeing right now in Iran, oil gets more expensive. Oil prices are already up 35% just in the first 12 days of March. Now here's the chain reaction. Oil goes up, leads to transportation costs go up, leads to food costs go up, leads to energy bills go up. The government tracks all of those costs, and those numbers feed directly into the inflation formula. Higher inflation leads to higher COLA. So if oil stays elevated or gets worse through the summer months, the COLA for 2027 could come in significantly higher than both of these estimates. That's actually good news for your check. But here's the other side of that coin. Higher inflation also means your money buys less. Your groceries cost more. Your prescriptions cost more. Your utility bills go up. A bigger COLA check and higher bills can cancel each other out, or worse, leave you further behind. How many of you have felt that already? You got a COLA raise and somehow still felt like you had less money by March? That's a real problem that millions of retirees face every single year. And it's one reason these estimates matter beyond just the dollar amount. Mark this on your calendar right now. April 10th, 2026. That's when the government releases the CPI data for March, the Consumer Price Index. That number is going to give us a much clearer picture of where inflation is heading. If March inflation comes in high because of oil prices, the COLA estimates for 2027 will jump. If inflation starts cooling off, the estimates may stay where they are or even drop. Either way, April 10th is the first real checkpoint, the first moment when the fog starts to clear. After that date, watch for updated estimates from TSCL and from Mary Johnson. Those updated numbers will be much closer to what you'll actually see in October. Now I want to shift gears for a moment, because while everyone is focused on the COLA number, AARP just issued a warning that puts all of this in a bigger context. The Congressional Budget Office, that's the nonpartisan government agency that analyzes federal finances, released a report in February of 2026. Their finding? The Social Security Trust Fund for retirement and survivors' benefits could be depleted by 2032. That's 1 year earlier than previous estimates. And here's what that means in plain language. If Congress does nothing between now and 2032, Social Security would have to cut benefits automatically by approximately 24%. That means if you're receiving $2,000 a month right now, under that scenario, you'd be receiving $1,520. That's $480 less. Every single month. AARP has made it clear they are pushing hard to prevent this. Their statement said they are doubling down on efforts to preserve and strengthen these programs. But the reality is this: Congress has to act. And right now, there's no clear plan on the table. This is why understanding your COLA estimate matters beyond next year's check. It's part of a larger picture of whether Social Security will be there fully for you in 5 or 6 years. What would you do if your check was suddenly cut by nearly a quarter? That's not a hypothetical. That's a real deadline that's getting closer every year. So let me leave you with 3 practical things. 1. Don't plan your 2027 budget around any estimate yet. These numbers will change. Wait for the April 10th CPI report, then revisit. 2. If you're within 5 years of claiming Social Security, or you haven't claimed yet, think about how a possible future benefit reduction could affect your strategy. A 24% cut changes the math on when to claim. 3. Go to ssa.gov and create your My Social Security account if you haven't already. You can see your estimated benefits, your earnings record, and stay informed directly from the source. No middleman, no confusion. Here's what I need you to remember. Your Social Security check is not just a government deposit. It's the result of a lifetime of work, decades of contributions, years of planning. You earned this, every single dollar of it. And whether it's oil prices in March or a congressional deadline in 2032, you deserve to know exactly what's coming and why. So stay informed, stay ahead, and don't let anyone make these decisions without you understanding them first. Subscribe if you worked your whole life for this retirement, and you're not about to let anyone take it from you without a fight.